In this video, we're testing out the Dark Moon Greatsword. Now, I think this weapon should be a lot stronger, but in some situations, it's actually alright. So you have an Ash of War called Moonlight Greatsword that basically turns this weapon into a giant frost sword. Now, this consumes a ton of stamina, as you can see from my stamina on the screen, but it does proc frost. So when you use this kind of Ash of War, it turns this into a giant ice blade that is going to do frost buildup on your enemies. And in that case, it's alright, but it could be better. Now, this weapon scales off of like 3 different stats. It's obviously intelligence for your frost and your main scaling for the magic parts of this weapon, but it also scales heavily off of dexterity and strength both equally. Like when you put points into there, it's going to increase your damage output for physical attacks by a lot, and you are going to need that because you're not going to be able to do a ton of non-physical attacks. Like this here, the charged heavy attack is how you actually do this over here, and it's like a giant ice slash, which is very cool, looks awesome, but it's very slow. It consumes a ton of stamina, and against bosses or anything that's pushing you aggressively, you're probably going to get your ass beat and you're going to just get like rolled. I do, however, like that it is a unique weapon. It's specific. It's one of the, few frost weapons that we have in the game that make it quite interesting, and I wish we had more weapons that were like this. I just wish it was a little bit stronger or had a little bit more to its repertoire of, attacks. The Ash of War itself costs a ton of FP, as you can see over here, and I believe it lasts just over a minute or so, so it lasts long enough for you for like most fights that you're going to be in, but it also just, I don't know, like I feel like it's missing something. Now, when you use jump attacks with the heavy attack, it does a lot of damage. Now, that guy was blocking the first one there, so a lot of damage didn't go through because he blocked most of it, but when you jump attack with this weapon, it is super effective. But let me show you how this performs against enemies who are more aggressive. So we're going to look at the Clean Rot Knights first that we always test against. Now, these are very fast enemies, very devastating, and things can go wrong if you make one mistake. And trust me, it very well can go wrong. As you can see there, he pokes me before I can get that nice attack off. So instead, you're going to use your jump attacks with jump and then a charged heavy to basically smack the enemy there. But I do feel like this weapon is way more effective if you do the charged heavy attacks with this giant like frost slash, because it just feels cool and it's able to deal with enemies from afar before they get close to you. You just have to time it right. You can see against even the dogs which chase you quite aggressively, you're able to take them down in like one nice timed swooping hit. And of course, without the Ash of War, you do not have any magic slashing attacks for your charged heavy. I just felt like I should let you know that the slashed magic attacks or the frost attack only comes from when you charge the weapon physically. So if you're using the sword, my best recommendation is to approach your enemies from a distance, to sweep in there, and then run in and just smack them with a heavy jump attack, and that's generally the strategy I've been finding effective with this weapon. Now, what I found quite surprising about this weapon is that it actually deals with giants quite well. I was like thinking, oh my god, I'm not dealing enough damage, I'm gonna die, and then you do like 2 swoops and then the guy's stunned. You're like, oh, okay, cool. So for against big enemies, it's actually alright. The only problem is how do you deal damage fast enough when they're down, because you run out of stamina so quickly. Like, I'm literally waiting for my stamina bar to come up here so I can do jump attacks to deal with him before he starts to retaliate. But you can see it's effective, you just lack the stamina. So maybe to get an enemy staggered and then swap to like a dagger or something that's faster to dish damage afterwards, after the enemy's down and staggered, is probably a better approach. Who knows? Now, in order to use the Dark Moon Greatsword, you do need 16 strength, 11 dexterity, and 38 intelligence. Obviously, you're going to need a ton of intelligence, so I invested a lot of my points into intelligence, and then rest over points into strength and dexterity. Even though they're descaling, this increases your physical attack by quite a lot, actually. This is the armor I'm wearing, in case you're interested. The talismans is raise strength by 5, raise dexterity by 5, so I'm trying to increase those stats as much as I can. Enhance my jump attacks, because those jumped heavy attacks, you want them to be as good as they can be. And then enhance charge attacks. You can also use a talisman to increase your maximum stamina. That's also a good vibe. The Wondrous Physic is here to boost my strength and dexterity, and obviously when you use these, this boosts strength and dexterity by 10 points each. My main concern with this weapon is that it just uses way too much stamina and for not enough damage output. I feel, at least. So you're actually going to be getting this sword from this location over here, and of course, this is right after you complete Ronnie's full questline. If you don't know how to do that, there is a video on the screen right now to show you how to complete her questline and get the Dark Moon Greatsword in case you're looking for it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching.